You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And good morning. This is Mike Lodge on the WBT. I'm glad you've joined me. I'm always happy when you guys join me because then I'm not sitting here in my office alone. So now that you're sitting here, we're having a good cup of coffee. Let's have a conversation. And today our conversation is going to be about storytelling. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And good morning again. I'm back. Listen, today here in South Florida, it's a very windy day. Looks wintry out, but it's like 80-some degrees out. I think it's like 81 degrees out. So you have to psych yourself out. You have to fake it. So you turn the air conditioning down lower. You turn on the fans to make it feel like it's cooler than what it really is. It looks winter outside. But really it's like in the 80s. Now I moved down here. I have a home up in South Carolina. And when I'm up there, I think right now it's in the 40s. So that is winter. When you have 40 and down in the 20s at night, that is a real winter season. And then the leaves are flowing off. I have this big old oak tree in the front of my house. And I don't think that oak tree ever stops shedding. That thing just keeps shedding and shedding and shedding. I have to go back up there in a few days to clean out all the gutters and everything because it's that time of the year when all of those leaves just come pouring down like rain. And also the loose branches and everything else. That's part of living. When you live in a state where you've got a lot of trees and you've got a change in season, you get a lot of leaves. So, yesterday, I was watching a short video, and it was about storytelling and how important it really is. And I've been trying to kind of get that message across over the 3 years that I've been doing my podcast. I have been trying to tell people that how important it is that as a finance guy, and a business mediation guy where I need to hear stories every single day from the people who sit in front of me so that they can explain what the issue is. Excuse me. That a story is very important. And that it's so important to be able to tell that story. And then when we look at your financial statements and your income statements and your balance sheets, that is the story of your company. And if you don't know how to explain it to anybody, you're going to be in trouble because if bankers need to know or investors need to know what's going on, or if you need to go out and get investment money, you need to be able to tell your story. Not just the story about how your company is formed and what you're going to do and everything else, but you need to be able to tell your financial story, your income statement, how much income came in and where it came from and how you got there, then your expenses, and then your net income, which flows over to your balance sheet. And the balance sheet is where it tells me how much cash you have in your bank, how much debt you have on your books, how much is owed accounts payable people, the vendors that you're doing business with. It tells me if you've got anything on there that's going to hurt you. And then it tells me over the course of the time that you've been in business, how much income that you have actually made or that you have lost. It's all there. That is the story. And if you don't know how to be able to explain that part of your business story, your financial statements, you're not going to be able to get too far. See, the problem is that in business, you tend to rely on other people. But if you own the business, you had better know your financial position. And you better be focusing on it every single day, because when you tell me that story, I'm going to be listening. And I'm also going to be following along on the balance sheet. Because that's what business people do. That's what bankers do. That's what investors do. That's what CEOs do. That's what new employees will do. So you need to be able to tell your financial story as well as encompassing the total story about your company. And we need to learn how to be able to tell those stories. I was thinking about my former business partner. Now, he was really good at telling a story. He could convince anybody through his storytelling ability. He was so good about it. I told him so many times, I said, why? Why in the hell are you in accounting? You should be in marketing. You should be out there doing things. When he finally got to the point where he needed to go out there and do something else, he went into marketing. He went into insurance. And within a half a year, he was able to build up his insurance group and become the number one team leader within the organization of the insurance company he was representing. He was getting trophies upon trophies. He was able to tell a story. And he was able to get you and me to get so involved in that story that pretty soon we were part of that story. And we were there. We were living the experience. And then finally he got us to sign on that dotted line. So you see the importance of that storytelling. It's not about selling. I mean, yeah, you need to know how to close the deal. Study that. Know how to close the deal. But it's about your story. It's about you. It's about your company. It's about how you got there. It's about the overall story that you're going to get these people to be living and experiencing. I am really bad at telling a story. And I'm afraid I'm even worse at trying to convince people to buy something. If my life depended upon selling something, I am afraid that I would probably be giving you the product or the service away for free because I'm so bad at it. Now, if you ask me to explain it and tell the pros and the cons and everything about it, I can do it. But I'm really bad at developing this story process of getting you involved and bringing you closer to me and getting you to where we need to be able to feel that we are one in the story and that we need to sign on that dotted line. I have not gotten to that point. I'm working on it. I study about it all the time. I listen to other people who know how to tell stories. I go to TED Talks and I am enthused and I am focused on the way that they are developing their story. And I think that's what every single one of us need to do. Because we are weak at it. A lot of us are weak at telling that story. Even when we're at church and we are giving a talk, some of us have not been able to develop what we have learned about the Bible and live it through our own personal experience and be able to talk in general about that wonderful experience. Instead, we get into Bible verses and everything else, and really we haven't genuinely learned how to tell that story of our personal experience. Now, my business partner, he knew how to do it. And I always sat there and I would listen to him. But he had this winning personality where he was able to give out a great smile. And that smile won them over because that smile had a story behind it that got you involved. I have learned over the past year that the more that I smile, the better I become at getting closer to my clients. The more that I smile, I find that I meet more people. The more that I smile, the better the person that I become. But that smile has got to be genuine. Now, there are some people out there who also tell a story, but it is a mean story. It's a negative story. It's a story that brings you so far down that by the time you're done, you are depressed and you just want to get up out of your chair and leave. You know those kind of people. In fact, you might even be one of those kind of people. Stop it. Learn how to tell a good story. Storytelling is an art form. And it's one of those things like, I'll give you a good example. Every single day, I have to develop content. For this podcast, I have to develop content that is telling a message, telling a story. And I admit it to you already, I'm really bad at it. It's probably why my listeners are not up into the millions. But it's okay because I'm learning the process. And I'm experiencing the process. And I study the process every single day. Because I'm always listening to other people's story and how they're able to do it. It inspires me when I hear other people's story. So I think that you and we can get better at this. I know we can. We just need to focus on it. And we just need to practice telling our story. And maybe we even need to sit down in front of a mirror and look ourselves in the eyes and tell us our own story. We need rehearsal. All of us need rehearsal. But in business, it's so important that we know how to tell a story. And as we become better at it, it becomes more natural. And as we become more professional in the way that we present our story, we're going to impress the hell out of ourselves, I'm telling you. So for 2020, you and we're going to work at telling a better story. Go out there and do it. It's a great experience. I was thinking, the other night, last night I was watching America's Got Talent. And you notice that with every performer that really was outstanding, they developed a good storyline behind it. There was this little boy. He was 11 years old. And he got up on stage and he had a violin. But then the story came out of how he almost died from cancer. And the little boy was at school and he was being bullied at school. And that bullying process drove him into a music class, and he wanted to learn how to play the violin. And the mom said, listen, none of our family knows how to play an instrument. So the little boy said, I want to learn how to play that instrument. And so when the little boy who had gone through this life-threatening disease stood there on the stage and told his story, the music that came out of that violin was so impressive and so uplifting that you had this emotional feeling of, I just lived this little boy's story. And the music that came out of his violin was inspirational. Every inspirational child, every inspirational individual who has gone through the life process of toughness has a story to tell. So think about that just a little bit. negative things can be turned into positive stories. Life experiences can engulf an individual's imagination because people are saying, well, that could have been me, that could have been my child. And they begin to become involved in this story. And then in the end, the results grow you closer to that individual. And that is what life is about. So for 2020, let's all go out there. Let's learn how to tell this story. Because I've got a feeling that a lot of you, including myself, have a really good story to tell. If you have any questions, send me a text. Well, if you have a story to tell me, send me a text at 818-252-5682, 818-252-5682, and I will respond to you. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. I'll be back with you soon. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.